Karen,
Yes.
I think I finally found the ultimate courtroom drama.
Oh, God.
I mean, forget Judge Judy, forget Judge Wapner, although I think I might have just dated myself in a big way right there.
Yeah. You're like pulling that one out of the history
Yeah,
books.
I know. I think, though, actually, you know how every family it has a drama? Where the sibling who hasn't called in for years, the uncle who still thinks karaoke night is a war crime, the cousin who owes you $50 from 1998. No? Well, our guest today found a way to fix all of it with one sentence. Basically, it's like Judge Judy meets cosmic soul therapy.
Oh.
Except nobody gets yelled at, and somehow everybody ends up hugging.
I like that.
I knew
like
you would.
hugging.
Now, you have always been my peacemaker, Karen. But let's be honest, if you could have settled my side of the family feud with one paragraph, you'd have been canonized by now. Our guest channeled this modality that's reuniting families, healing old wounds, and proving that sometimes the best courtroom is the one where your higher self bangs the gavel. So get ready, Karen, because for once, family drama might actually come with a happy ending here on the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Yay.
My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
We both want to believe.
so we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something
Anything.
that will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians. Hey there, I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
Welcome back to the Skeptic Metaphysicians, the podcast that proves that you don't need a gavel, a jury, or even a judge to settle your disputes. You just need a mystical courtroom where your soul does all the talking. Today's guest began her career as a singer-songwriter, touching hearts at spiritual events around the world, even moving the Dalai Lama to tears with her song, Remember Who You Are.
What? Oh, my gosh.
Now, in 2013, though, her life took an extraordinary turn when she channeled a healing process now known worldwide, yes, worldwide, as the Court of Atonement. What began as a way to heal her own family's estrangements quickly went viral, with thousands embracing this powerful tool to resolve conflicts, release old wounds, and reunite with loved ones. Her 48-page ebook has been translated into multiple languages. Her teachings have been endorsed by renowned healers around the world, and her own online community continues to grow globally. Please welcome to the show, Amy Jo Ellis. Amy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, and what an intro! Oh my gosh, I love this.
We're hearing that a lot lately, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a good thing.
It could be like, oh my God, what an intro.
No, it's like, hey, an intro.
All right, Amy Jo, we're excited to have you on the show. Like we told you at the beginning of the interview, even before we started recording, Karen had no idea what we were talking about. So the Court of Atonement is brand new for her. And so let's just set the bar so that she can understand what we're talking about today, so she can join the conversation. What exactly, in your estimation, is the Court of Atonement?
Okay, the Court of Atonement, for the best I can figure it out, is one soul talking to the other soul and coming to a happy conclusion as to what and why it happened. Like, I'm just going to say one of the things I always see here is like, let's just say we're watching a movie and we've got a woman who's sitting at the kitchen table and she's got the candles lit and dinner's ready and the wine is poured. She's sitting there. Next scene, the candles have burned down. He hasn't shown up. Food's uneaten. Scene 3 is she's on the phone saying, I don't know what happened. I'm so worried about him. Scene 4, she's going, well, I know that SOB is cheating on me. And she's drawn her own conclusions. She's angry. And when the man walks in the door, she says, where were you? Now, it's not a polite voice, tone of voice.
Right.
Right. It's a very accusatory, right? Now, whether the anger's going to leave or the anger's going to stay depends on his answer. If he says, well, I went out drinking with the boys and forgot. It's not leaving, is it?
No.
But if he says to her, there was a really horrible accident, and she's like, oh, are you okay?
Right.
Yeah.
How many seconds did it take for the anger to leave when we understood what happened and accepted that reason?
Mhm.
That's the thing. So what happens here with when we ask the Court of Atonement to resolve the conflict at the point of origin is it goes back and the souls say, hey, I went out drinking with the boys. And she's like, yeah, I heard that already. And he says, then the soul says, yeah, but what you don't know is my boss tried to fire me and I had to talk my way out of that. And I was really upset. And my friend said, hey, don't take that home to your wife. Let's go out, have a drink, cool down, and then go home. And then I forgot. The wife goes, oh my gosh, you had a bad day. And at the soul level, that understanding gets felt in our nervous system, and a lot of the problems just dissolve quite magically.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. Karen and I get in a row. Not that we ever have, but just pretend.
Right.
We get in a row. And all of a sudden, we are at odds with each other. And we can't even be in the same room together. The Court of Atonement, what you're saying is, brings her higher self and my higher self together in a room to knock each other around to say, this is what happened.
They put on the gloves. They go duke it out.
So then they settle it out there in the ether. And then we down here are like, oh, I love you now. Like that?
It's not. I wish it was exactly.
Oh, I knew it.
So
I
great.
knew
Oh,
it. I
man.
knew it. Okay.
Where it really, where it gets caught up and it doesn't work as well is when the person is not willing to let it go. Like, so we're going to use, I'm mad, and I'm going to use the Court of Atonement.
Mhm.
But inside my heart, inside my spirit, not out here in the soul, I'm like, he's going to apologize, man. That's it. I'm not coming back unless. So we kind of lock it in our hearts by saying, that's it. I'm not going to let this go unless this happens. And so we make what I call reasons for completion. We have he has to apologize. He has to admit that he was wrong. He has to. And we have these reasons that we won't allow it to drop. But where it works really extraordinarily well on old wounding, where we've kind of given up on that.
Mm.
And like I said, I see it work. All of the people who are following me, they know it works sometimes excellently and sometimes not so excellent. And when it's not so excellent, we have to look in ourselves here for a minute because their soul is ready to, maybe at the spirit. I'm going to say there's two different things going on. We got a spirit, which is that consciousness of who we are. And then we've got the soul, which kind of knows everything. So the conscious level is really ready to let it, Willie. I'm like you. I'm tongue-tied. What's going on?
Wait, what do you mean like me?
Really? Yeah, this 3 times. This is my first. I am really ready to man, that's really, really weird. I'm ready to let this go. So I'm willing and ready to let this go. And so once the soul and the spirit are, then we get the magical thing. But yes, it does work that well when she doesn't know and you're ready to let it go. We get like an epiphany of, like, have you ever been walking along and all of a sudden you go, oh, I know why that person's upset. I get it.
Okay,
now.
you just answered my next question. So it's going to be, well, then do our souls come and like whisper in our ear and say, this is why he didn't show up or something? Or how do we know to let it go?
It just doesn't be, it's just not important anymore. And yeah, the soul just kind of, it relaxes. Like, I think that the soul and the spirit get to communicate here and they say, okay, yeah, that's not important. A lot of people always ask, hey, do we need permission to use this for another person? And so if your brother and sister-in-law are fighting, no, you don't need their permission. You can just throw them in a Court of Atonement and see if it works.
I know who we should use this with.
Who?
I'll tell you off mic.
Oh, yeah. I guess we don't want to broadcast that.
No.
Oh my goodness.
I love that.
So,
Thinking, Will.
So let me get this straight. If, in theory, or I guess not theory because you know this to be true, it's like kind of like putting the good whammy on someone. Like we could say, okay, these two are fighting.
It's a blessing.
Yes.
Think of it that way. It's a blessing.
How do you put them into the Court of Atonement?
Well, you have to use your name. Our names are more important than we think. And
My name is not great these days.
Oh, my goodness.
I might get kicked out of the Court of Atonement.
No, well, I can
Karen.
help you with it. Karen, I'm sorry.
I
to hear
know.
that.
It's awful. Anyways.
Well, you can, we can try it this way. How about this? I want you to repeat after me.
Okay.
And so we use our first, middle, and last names when we use the Court of Atonement. And we use that to set it up. So right now, I want you to just say your name, Karen. Say Karen.
Karen.
And notice if your energy goes down or if your energy goes up. And so let's try this. I want you to think about puppies. Okay. Think about puppies. Notice how that is. And let's just relax.
Mhm.
1, 2, 3. Karen. Does your
Yeah.
energy sink down?
It sinks down.
Right. So just on a lark here, say, I state your name. So I, Amy Jo Ellis. So
I, Karen Elaine Ensley.
I'm glad you didn't say I state my name.
A lot of people do. It's okay though. So I state our names.
I, Karen Elaine Ensley.
Place my name, Karen, into a full Court of Atonement.
Place my name, Karen, into a full Court of Atonement.
I ask for it to be purified and sanctified.
I ask for it to be purified and sanctified.
I ask to bring in humanity.
I ask to bring in humanity.
And I ask to resolve the destruction of my name.
And I ask to resolve the destruction of my name.
I ask for divine intervention.
I ask for divine intervention.
To purify and sanctify the name Karen.
To purify and sanctify the name Karen.
Yeah. Now just to kind of take a deep breath and allow that to settle in for a second. Okay. So now I want you to think about puppies.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. Karen.
It's about the same.
Oh, it's the same still down that
No,
low?
I mean
same
about
as
the same
puppies.
as puppies.
It's same as puppies. It
Yeah.
stayed up. Okay, yeah. So you've at least healed yourself with your problem with the name Karen. And we tried to do a little bit for the other Karens in the world. And so any other Karens listening, back it up, do that, stick your own name in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But my guide say, if you can think that the Court of Atonement might work, just try it. There's no harm.
Sure.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
two questions. One, what if your name, the name that you go by, isn't really the name that you were given at birth?
There's a little process that I do to try to help people reconnect. I just have, so is your name, you got two sets of names for you or someone else?
Well, yeah, my name is, I go by Will, but my name is actually Guillermo, which is William in Spanish.
Got you. Hi, Guillermo. Got a lot of great friends with that name.
Oh, they must be good people.
They are good people. Some of my favorites. So what I have people say is I and state your name as it is on your birth certificate.
Ah, okay.
So I, and so you would say your name. So come on, play with me now. I state your name.
Sorry. I state your name. No, I'm sorry. I had to do that.
Perfect.
No. I, Guillermo Alberto Rodriguez Calas,
Place myself into a full Court of Atonement.
place myself into a full Court of Atonement.
I bring in my name, Will Rodriguez.
I bring in my name, Will Rodriguez.
Asked to analyze our timelines.
Say that again.
I asked to analyze our timelines.
I ask to analyze our timelines,
Resolve any and all conflicts with my name.
resolve any and all conflicts with my name.
I ask to bring the power of my birth name
I ask to bring the power of my birth name
to the name I choose to use.
to the name I choose to use.
Right. And so now you just would use Will.
Okay.
Right.
Awesome.
Kinda cool.
And
Oh, yeah.
so that's
That's
it.
cool.
It's pretty simple, but you try to get that alignment with the name so that the birth certificate, the way I found out how powerful the name is I was at a psychic fair, and it was the first one I'd ever done. I was so nervous, and I the first lady coming up to me, I said, "How can I help you?" By the way, it's 9:00 in the morning. I have flown home from California the night before to Washington State. I'm exhausted, and I've set up a booth since 7:30, so it's 9:00 in the morning. "How can I help you?" She says, "My daughter died yesterday. I'd like to reach her." And I just go,
Womp
"Oh,
womp.
Not like which
I'm like-
crystals are for what.
yeah." I was like, "Oh my goodness." And I said, a lot of psychics will tell you that they can't reach them for 2 or 3 days. And I said, "Fortunately for you, I'm not one of those." I've talked to a chair before. If I can talk to a chair, I can certainly talk to the soul of your daughter. And I'm like, but I'm talking a soul level, not the conscious level. So it's bigger, more expanded. I said, "I don't know what this is going to look like, but we're going to do it." And so I went in, I got her name was Sarah. And I said, I asked to speak to Sarah. And I'm like, I asked to speak to, and I can't even say the name Sarah. And I'm like, I said, something's wrong with her name. I can't say her name. And that's my clue that I'm doing something wrong is I start to look like an idiot. I start to stumble and look, I can't say willing and ready.
Me
So
too.
Right. I start, when Spirit's trying to come through and tell me I'm wrong, I can't keep speaking.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, I'm wrong. What's going on with her name? Is her name, is Sarah is that, I said, is that her name or is that a nickname? And they're like, no, that's her name. And I'm like, I said, I can't make it work. And I said, and she's getting angry with me. The mother's like, that's her name. And I went, that's the name on her birth certificate. And she went, oh, no, she's adopted.
Oh.
And so I took the name from the birth certificate, and immediately I was hearing, Auntie Pam, Auntie Pam. And I said, I'm hearing Auntie Pam. And she goes, my sister Pamela's here. She's just across the room at another booth. I said, well, you better go get her because she wants her to hear this. So,
Wow.
yeah, so it was really remarkable and a good reading for me to start the world off.
Yes.
Somebody put me up to it. And if I had really failed, I probably wouldn't be sitting in front of you today.
Well, I'm glad that
Wow.
it came through the way it did because we're thrilled to have you here.
Yes.
So then the second question goes along the same lines of the name, but if we're bringing other people into it, we just bring them by bringing in their names into it.
Yeah, and as much as we know of it, and sometimes I have to say like the person I know as. I'm bringing in the person I know as this person.
So the person I know as Meathead.
Exactly. I put in the person who stole my car.
Right. Gotcha.
Right. So yeah, I did that this morning. I had a memory of having my car stolen.
Oh.
And I think that was for your show actually that I
Really?
remembered that. Yeah, because you're called the Skeptic Metaphysicians,
Mhm.
and this was before I believed in any of this stuff.
Oh.
And I was driving for an attorney company, and you pick up I go to different attorney office after attorney office, and I bring them into a location, and I pick up all their files, and then they file them in court, and then I take them back. So I'm driving this route, and when I got the route, this man told me, he goes, I pull up next to the door on this one, and it's under a big overhang, and he goes, and I just leave the car running, I go inside, I get the files, which are on that desk right there in sight of the door, pick them up, and take them out to the car. And so I'd been doing it for 6 months like that.
Leaving the car on.
Leaving the car
Amy
running.
Jo,
and
what are
the
you
door
thinking?
open.
What?
He told me to, and I was young and naive. So there's good news and bad news here.
Okay.
The car was not stolen at that time.
Oh.
So I went in, got the box, came back out. And when I was standing in front of when I was going to put the car, I thought, this car could be stolen. This is really a bad idea. And if this car was stolen, it's brand new. I don't even know the license plate. Oh. And so I went around the back of the car and I memorized the license plate number. And on the rest of the drive back, I kept running through the license plate number. I parked in front of my door of my office, and I turned the car off, took the key, took the box, closed the car, went inside, and I had to go back a hallway, 20 feet down a hall, went into the room, put the box down, clocked out, walked out, car gone.
So something told you to memorize that license plate because you're
Exactly.
about to go into a world of hurt otherwise.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I didn't know what I knew now, which would be I would say, okay, God, I forbid this car to be stolen. No, no, no. And I would do something to change it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so like I said, I had that memory this morning, and I put myself in a court of atonement with the who stole my car. And,
That's a weird name.
yeah,
But-
I know, but best I could do.
okay, so back to the other people because I specifically there's two people that I really think need to get into the Court of Atonement. It has to do with your family.
My family.
Mhm.
Oh, that's not happening.
Court of Atonement. You
Yeah.
never know.
Well, that's true. Maybe.
Okay, so
Well, you know what? The good news is, Will, you don't have to have Karen's permission.
that's right. That's right.
I mean,
I don't
think it would be fantastic.
Yes. So
But
if that's the case, if I want to do it, that's actually the question,
Yeah.
isn't it?
You can help people with that blessing, and it may or may not work
Okay.
because they're in the people who are living. We have life lessons that we might be going through,
Mhm.
and so it may not clear up because the soul always has the right to say, "This is going along just perfectly the way it is. We're not interfering."
Understand? Okay, yeah, because
But if that's why I was saying the old things usually go away pretty easy because I mean, not unless you're like still that guy has to do.
right. But that's the reason why I ask, because we hear all the time that you really shouldn't do something against someone's will.
Exactly.
But in the Court of Atonement, if they're not ready to do it, then they're just not going to do it. So it's
They
like,
just don't.
okay,
You're not messing with their energy field.
okay,
You know what I mean? You're not. A lot of the stuff that we're not supposed to do is things where we're impressing our will upon them. This is we just put them in a court of atonement, ask to resolve the conflicts between them, and they accept or they don't.
okay,
It's not real. It's not real invasive, so to speak.
okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
So-
With Karen, she could, if we'll just do this and the listeners can kind of follow along and do it too. And what I want you to do is, I want you to kind of close your eyes and see these people. For you too, Will, you're the one suggesting them.
Okay.
So if you close your eyes and you see these people.
But do I have to say their name out loud? I don't want to.
Not at all.
Okay, good.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay.
So see these people in your mind and notice if they look happy or not happy or how they look.
Are they in the same room together?
Yeah.
Then no, they are not
Yeah.
happy. Then no.
Okay.
Well-
okay.
It's
So-
I don't know. Maybe I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay. So you can tell her later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This isn't any of her business.
It's not that they're unhappy. One of them is
Right.
very happy. The other one is just like, ugh.
Right. Okay. So you can just do this in your mind. I'll just go kind of slowly and you can repeat this in your mind.
Okay.
So I state your name and we'll say place Karen's family into a full court of atonement.
Oh, I need to go back because I thought you were talking about placing their names in it. Okay. I mind.
Yep.
Okay.
Place and the people we're thinking about into a full court of atonement. I ask to analyze their timelines and resolve any and all conflicts between them at their points of origin. I ask for amenable dissolution of this energy. And I'll just come out of that. Take a deep breath. And now, if you can imagine them in that one room, how do they look?
I mean, in my mind's eye, I see them hugging.
Oh, see?
So
Right. That's a change.
it is a change. Now, I
We've
mean, I
made a change.
don't know if it's my wishful thinking or if it's reality, but I guess time will tell. So,
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we can't get what we can't see, really.
mm,
And so I use the Court of Atonement for a lot of things for people to help them change their beliefs about something.
okay.
I had a gentleman who was bedridden, and he'd been bedridden for like 9 years.
Oh gosh.
And he started coming to me, and he was getting other help from other places, and it was helping. He was starting to get some relief, but he was still in bed when I saw him. And I said, I want you in your mind to imagine getting up and he used to be a runner. I said, imagine getting up, sitting up, tying your shoes, and going over to the door, opening the door, and going for a run. He's like, I can't even pull the blankets back.
Ooh, boy.
He's like, I can't even sit up. And we traced this back. I'm like, what was going on 9 years ago? He'd pretty much been left at the altar and had a really bad breakup. And so I started working with him and that point of origin back there between that. And like week 2, he comes in, and the first time he was laying completely flat. And the second time he's sitting upright in bed. The third week he comes in, he's on the couch. And then within 6 weeks, he's getting a job. He's up walking. He's back in play.
Well,
right. And so I was going to say, and that's one example that a lot of people watched, because we did it in my group sessions where there's 100 people all getting to watch each other. So we all saw this progression of him improving.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So now you know, Karen, if ever there's a point where I just don't feel like that anymore. Well, you just used the Court of Atonement, didn't you? Now you know.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
Very cool. So you've channeled this whole healing modality. And then you put it into a little flyer, right?
Yeah.
An ebook that you put out there, not thinking anything was going to come of it. And all of a sudden it flipping blew up, right?
It blew up. Yes.
So blew up how? Like, walk us through that.
Okay, so I started out, well, we'll just say where it came from real quick. There was my son got a bunch of birthday calls from all the family on my side. And my husband said, people on my side of the family, we don't even hear from them, and they don't call on the kids' birthdays and things. He's like, that's really sad. Well, I asked my guides, how do I resolve this? And they said, put their souls in a court of atonement. And I went, what? That's weird sounding. I have no idea what that means.
It's
Talk
a
about
what?
your skeptic metaphysician. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm not doing that. And so then I looked it up, and they're like, no, you're looking too hard. It's at-one-ment. Look at the word, atonement, at-one-ment. A court is a place that you resolve conflicts, and at-one-ment is bringing it back to wholeness.
Right.
And so okay, well, I'll do that. So I did this for him. I wrote it all out. I handed it to him. I said, hey, tried to help your family. And he was like, thanks, honey. So I don't think too much more about it, but on my husband's birthday, about 6 weeks later, all 5 of his siblings called and wished him happy birthday.
No way.
Wow.
Out of the blue.
Yeah, out of the blue.
You didn't prod him or anything.
No, nothing.
Wow.
No, nothing. And so he's like, you don't think that weird? You did. Had anything to do with this, do you? And I'm like,
Amy Jo, thank you for censoring yourself on our show. Very few people do it.
My guides do not censor themselves, and I'm aware. So, so anyway, the guides cuss, man. Yeah, so, at least mine do. So anyway, I didn't pay any more attention to it. And then I'm at my mom's house. There's a big argument in the other room. It's 3:00 in the morning. I very selfishly want to go back to sleep. I asked my guides, what can I do to solve this? And again, I'm told, put their souls in a court of atonement, ask to analyze their timelines, resolve the conflicts between them. I'm like, that again? And so I did it. And I always kind of stenography, I'm typing as I'm channeling my guides. And so my mom comes up to me the next day and she's like, Amy Jo, what did you do? Everybody's getting along so well. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I put them in a court of atonement. And she's like, write that down. I want to see that. I want to look at that. And I said, oh, I already did. And I just sent it to her, in a text. I'm like, here. And so later on, she comes up to me and she says, do you think this will work for people who have passed? And my hair stood up with this big rush of, yes, it will. And it'll stop like family patterns from repeating if you go after the family that's had those big problems. And so she was thinking specifically of her mother and her grandmother that did not get along. And so she started using the Court of Atonement for anybody she could think of that wasn't. And she's like, oh my gosh, as I lay down to go to bed at night, I'm just like, I'm throwing all these people into a Court of Atonement. And she goes, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm doing it. And she goes, and I wake up refreshed. It's weird.
Oh,
Because she goes, I wake up really refreshed. And so I told her, I said, man, the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. Well, one night there's this smoke. We smell cigarette smoke. My husband's like, where's that cigarette smoke coming from? We live in the middle of the woods, like 5 miles from anybody. We're like, what is that? He goes outside, he walks around, he goes, it's stronger in the house than it is out. I don't know what this is. So we go to bed that night. I wake up 3:00 in the morning, bedroom full of cigarette smoke. And I remember in that moment, a friend of mine who's a psychic saying, oh, I smell tobacco. I wonder what spirit's trying to get my attention. So I hear her in my mind say that. And I went, somebody trying to get my attention? And I get yes, this big rush of energy of yes. And I went, who is it? And I saw a photograph of my grandfather that sits on my parents' piano. I see in my mind the piano in the photograph. Trying to demystify this because it's just a memory.
Mhm.
I see that.
Mhm.
And I said, oh, Grandpa Richards, I haven't heard from you since I was 11. And I said, is there something I can do for you? And then in my thoughts, I hear, please apologize. Tell your father I apologize that things were not better between us when he was a little boy. Ask him to pardon me for that. And he said, tell your mother thank you very much for the prayers. And so I'm like, I can't tell my dad. He doesn't believe a word of this stuff. I can't tell my dad. So I do the next best thing, which is the next morning I call my mom and tell my mom. And she's like, oh, I put your father and his father in a Court of Atonement yesterday. My hair stood up. I'm just like,
Oh my gosh.
I had 3 thoughts at once. 1, I wasn't insane. My grandfather was in my room. 2, that this thing works. And 3, I can teach it to other people and they can use it.
So you just made tears come to my eyes because all of a sudden, all I can think of is my relationship with my dad.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to put the 2 of us in that court and see what happens, see if we can resolve it. No.
But you willing to do it live? No? It's okay. Be a coward. It's all right.
Oh, dang. Calling me out.